20th century. Spain was a dominating world power during the 16th century and at the beginning of the 17th. Then came the hour of France from the middle term of the 17th to the beginning of the 19th, from the accession of the Solar King, Louis XIV, Louis XIV, to the defeat of Emperor Napoleon in front of the Anglo-Prusso-Austro-Russian coalition. The United Kingdom took the relay and was the first world power during one complete century from my English is bad, from 1815 at 1815 to 1914. After the European Civil War, inappropriately named First World War, from 1914 to 1918, during which the victory of the Anglo-French armies was only obtained by the economical and military help of the young American nation, United States, emerged not only as the first world power, but as the planetary superpower that overwhelmed the others in all fields. This position of global supremacy of the United States and leadership has been never seen since the Roman Empire. Now, please, let us examine the destiny of Roman Empire. According to my compatriot, the historical researcher André Lama, the collapse of Rome was fundamentally created by ethnical chaos and disorder, by the lack of homogeneity in the upper and directing classes, but also in the basic people. Perhaps it is the same scenario that threatens the United States. Why did the US were the first world power? Is it by the reason of the natural resources, mineral, agricultural resources, or of the size of its territory? No, because in this case Russia would have been the superpower, and it was not. To explain the historical event of the American superpower, we don't need, like always in the long river of history, physical and long causes, but the anthropological pattern of the American nation. The human background of the USA gathered like a symphony with these immigrants from European peoples. Anglo-Saxons, Germans, Dutch, French, Italics, Scandinavians, Slavs, each of them bringing their own genius, but each of them possessing the same global mentality, have gathered, forming a sort of new overseas Europe. The Europeans, author of the 18th century, called them amazed, the new world. The main cause of the American superpower is therefore the historical fact that America was a projection of Europe, and then the synergic multiplication of the quality of the white European nations, white nations which in Europe never stopped to fight the ones against the other, and by this reason weakened themselves and neutralizing themselves. You understand me? Yes. Because my English is quite bad. Very probably an American nation which wouldn't be more from a European origin in its majority, but a melting pot of the world, with greater and greater proportion of mixed population, it would be impossible that this nation remains a superpower, or even an interesting and prosperous place to live in. The idea that the United States and Europe too will have prosperity and strength because there are more and more race mixed, because there are more and more an addition of all the people and origin of the world, is a very stupid illusion. Ethnical mixing, as pointed by Aristotle 2,500 years ago in his book Politica, does not give harmony, but this is a Greek term, chaos. American power and one main cause: synergy of European white peoples without war between them. This is only the notion of melting pot, and the origin did not mean the cosmopolitan picture of all the people on the earth, but only the construction of a new nation from European nations, and only European nations. But the USA are less threatened than Europe by the colonization of population, although it exists too. An American author, Christopher Caldwell, published a very interesting book, Reflection on the Revolution in Europe, Immigration, Islam and the West. He demonstrates that Europe is ethnically distorted, disfigured by immigration and very rapid invasion of Islam. The French media, at 80% leftist, boycotted the translation of his book. And I was condemned personally to pay an enormous fine by the court of Paris when I had written the same thing in a book, La Colonisation d'Europe. I was condemned for racism, accused of to be racist. But what is to be racist? Exactly that said de Gaulle, which was a racist. De Gaulle said, General de Gaulle was a racist like me, no? France, it is a quotation, is historically of white race and European civilization. See that on the TV. And he said too, we must admit immigrants in the proportion of 2%, but only for Northern Europe. De Gaulle said this. If I say this now in France, we'll be condemned by court. De Gaulle said this, you know. But it was 40 years ago. The things have very much changed. But in Europe, where freedom of speaking is no more guaranteed by law, when you are defending, protecting your people, your race, against an intruder, against an invader, you are the attacker, you are the aggressor. You defend yourself, right? You are the aggressor.